Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, the leaves are starting to turn colors. I mean, it could be brighter and prettier, but it's been really dry. So I think we'll take what we can get. I'm surprised there's as much color in the trees as there is, considering it's been weeks and weeks and weeks since most of the Ozarks has had much of any measurable rain. Well, the weekend is upon us again. You know what that means. Crazy stuff could happen. I know we've said for the last few weeks, but it does look like it's getting closer and closer till Iran and Israel kind of start going at each other. I'm starting to lean towards that it's not going to be that big a deal. I think Israel is going to, strike a few things, and Iran will say, it's not that big a deal. We'll let that one slide. And it might be over. Maybe. There is the chance, though, that I think that the deciding factor in that is Israel is not one for, kind of letting things slide like that. So we'll see how that works out. Other things, of course, this whole election and Kamala and Trump and what's going on with there. I'm sure there'll be more accusations against each one of them. They're going to do more and more talk about how Hitler-like Donald Trump is, and Kamala will continue to be just kind of ridiculous looking and behaving. What should you be doing? Okay, that's really where it boils down to. What do you need to be doing? You need to be obviously your preps, you're getting ready, your state of preparedness, all this kind of stuff. But really, what you need to be doing is continuing, if you've already started, and beginning if you haven't, this understanding that we live in a vastly different place than we once did. And I know we've been saying that for years now, especially since COVID, the whole new normal stuff and everything, but we really need to be, because I think moving forward through the rest of this year and into next year, it may not be a big substantial overnight change and difference. This wake up one day and the world is in utter chaos and destruction. But I think it will at least be a progression, continued progression, and that speed and intensity will pick up. And the next year is going to be probably pretty intense at times. And we have to be ready for that, and not just ready in that physical sense, but really ready in that sense that we're mentally able to handle that. We can understand that we're in a different place. We can understand that you and I are more hated, that you and I are more in the crosshairs of destruction, and that the system, the left, the Marxists, the Satanists, whatever you want to call it, that they are out to, wage an all-out war against us. I think that's really where we're at. And I think over the coming weeks and months, that will become more and more profound with things that are said and done. And for me personally, I think that's where I'm at, is really kind of getting kind of psychologically geared up for that. There's for the average person, there's only so much physical preps that you can do. Yes, you should be continually training and developing skills and adding to food and ammo and medical and communications and water supplies and filtration, and you should always be working towards that. But I think probably one of the weaker areas for most people that lean towards prepping is that mindset that things are getting worse and things are going to progressively intensify to the point that, many of you may be sought out, taken out, however you want to interpret that. You may find yourselves living in extremely dangerous areas where folks that think and believe like you are targets. I know that sounds very far-fetched for a lot of you. This is America, right? It's America. Well, that's where America's going. And if you believe anything that's talked about in Scripture, we know it's going to get worse. And so I think in the days and the weeks ahead, that's really where we need to be putting a lot of focus on. It's just understanding that our lives may dramatically change in the coming months, simply because we have to adjust where we go, who we hang out with, how we act, who we talk to, that kind of stuff. I'm not saying we go in hiding or anything. We just use common sense, intelligence that's very lacking, and use that to understand when and where is the time and the place for something. And some of you may be in places that are going to be more dangerous than others, and you should already know who you are, and you should be doing everything you can to prepare for that. But this one area, I feel it's going to be an area that people lack the most in, because most people just can't wrap their heads around a world that's going to be that evil, that violent. And like I said, if you believe anything that's spoken of in scriptures, then have a good idea of where we're heading. And we're certainly not at the pinnacle of that. We're certainly not in the worst of it. And so whatever happens over the weekend, over the next week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever, I'm sure it's just progressive, chaos and leading up to whatever. But you and I have to be getting it right up here. And the reason is so that we don't break down ourselves, right? It's like, and I know this from coming from my background, and I've heard it from other people and other people's backgrounds. You can train and be a really top-end operator. You can be really good at what you do, whether it's, law enforcement, combat, medical, something else that's a high-stress job. And on paper, you have succeeded greatly. But then when you're thrown into the heat of it, some people choke. They do. They choke. They freeze. They can't handle it. And it's because they have not developed the mental strength, that mindset of what they may face. And you and I can't allow that to happen. We have families that depend on us, communities that depend on us. We can't allow ourselves to choke, to our knees buckle, so to speak, mentally, because of the things we may face, the temptations, the struggles, the violence, the chaos, the dramatic change that we may see in the future. So we have to be working on that very diligently. As hard as many of you have worked on developing your shooting skills, your medical skills, your canning skills, your sewing skills, as hard as you have worked on developing the amount of food you have in storage, or where you live, or whatever it is, we have to be developing that mindset, that warrior mentality, that no matter what we face and how bad it is, that we can get through it. Because while it may not be as bad as we think, it may not be as bad as you think, the recipe, the ingredients for that recipe of destruction is all there. And so we need to be ready for that. Folks, get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.